The Nets suck. And I'm saying that as a fan. What's up, everybody? It's Tyler. 4beatofbrooklyn.com. That's my website. I do Nets things there. And I'm going to kind of break down what's been happening with the Nets so far this season. It's not good. It's been all bad. Pretty much all bad. And I'm trying to find positives and negatives, but we don't have any draft picks. We don't have cap space. Who is going to pick this franchise up and say, okay, we suck. Billy King's not going to do it. What has Billy King done except give away all our future draft picks, mortgaging our future for players that are on the tail end of their careers? I mean, last year, the whole Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce, Jason Terry experiment didn't really pan out the way most fans wanted it to. You know, we got past the first round in 7 games, but then we got eliminated in 5 games by the Heat. Joe Johnson was arguably the Nets' best player last season. Brook Lopez, obviously, out for the season. He's come back this year, and a lot of fans hate Brook Lopez. A lot of fans don't like the way he plays basketball. Yes, he can give you 20 a night, but what else can he give you? He's obviously a lackluster rebounder. On defense, he's shaky, and he's just not athletic. You know, multiple ankle surgeries. You know, his career is basically at a point where he's one more injury away from becoming Yao Ming. And that's not an area that most fans want him to become. You know, there's fans that like and appreciate Brook Lopez, and then there's fans that say, you know what, Brook Lopez sucks and I want him out. The problem with trading so many of our players is that, look at their contracts. Joe Johnson's contract is pretty much immovable. Darren Williams' contract is pretty much immovable. Brook Lopez is likely the top out of those 3 to be moved, but a lot of teams aren't willing to mortgage much for a player that has the injury history that Brook Lopez has. Same thing goes for Darren Williams. Look at his injury history. He just got back from being out, 11 games for rib injury. So, a lot of things factor into why a lot of teams aren't willing to mortgage much. You know, there's been a couple offers. You know, the Hornets and the Nets have been talking all season. Lance Stevenson, they want to get rid of him. The Nets say, okay, Lance Stevenson was born in Brooklyn. Money, marketing. Look at all that marketing. Lance Stevenson was born in Brooklyn. Bring him back to Brooklyn. That's going to create cash. But the problem with creating cash is that always doesn't equal a good basketball team. And that's what we saw last year. We have the league's highest payroll. We're 10 games under 500 and in the 9th seed in the East. I'm just saying. The team as a whole has been disappointing. Like I said, 10 games under 500 at the All-Star break, 9th seed in the East. And the East is bad. The East is trash. Compared to the West, I mean, Jesus. 21-31 is our record right now. Jarrett Jack is our best player right now. Not Darren Williams. No, not Darren Williams. Not Brook Lopez. Not Joe Johnson. Where's Joe Johnson? I don't know. Kevin Garnett's been playing his ass off, but, you know, he doesn't get a lot of minutes anymore. Mirza's done for the season, and we're just stuck in mediocrity right now. That's the best way. That's the best word I can use to describe where the Nets are at the moment. 3-game win streak last week was like, oh my God, we beat the Clippers, we beat Toronto, and we beat the Knicks. But everybody beats the Knicks. But, oh shit, I just dropped my phone on the floor. But the point is, you know, that 3-game win streak was like finally getting the girl of your dreams. And everything's good. And then you play on the road, starting an 8-game road trip. You start an 8-game road trip, and then, wait, that girl of your dreams isn't who you thought she was. And now that's where we are, on a 3-game losing streak, headed into the All-Star break. Well, we're at the All-Star break. 3-game losing streak at the All-Star break. 21-31. Jarrett Jack has been a godsend. God bless Jarrett Jack. He gives his all for this team. He plays 40 minutes a night, basically. I don't know how many minutes he's averaging for the season, but he's been the 40-minute man. You know, he's miles better than Darren Williams right now, and that's sad for me to say because Darren Williams is earning $98 million on his contract to, you know, come off the bench and shoot 3 for 8. He didn't hit a field goal in the last 2 games. He hit his first field goal in 3 games the other night in Memphis. He's earning $98 million a year. He's shooting 0 for 8, 0 for 5. That's not okay. And Billy King is just content with sitting around and waiting for something magical to happen. There has been no turnaround this season like there were the last 2 seasons after the new year. You know, the first season in Brooklyn, you come out, you beat the Thunder on their home floor, or the Spurs or whatever. I don't remember. It was the Thunder. And then last year you beat the Thunder on their home floor because Joe Johnson is Joe Jesus, and he hits a buzzer beater over Serge Ibaka. And now this year, where is that? First game after the new year, we beat the Magic, and we're like, okay, here we go again. We're going to turn things around, and then poof, you lose games. And then February came around, and we started winning again against quality opponents. The game against the Clippers, Jarrett Jack played the hero. Game against Toronto, it was a blowout the entire game. Game against the Knicks, Jarrett Jack, the hero again. And then it all goes away. You can't play down to the level of your opponents. And that's what the Nets have been doing kind of like all season. But we don't know anything about the Nets' talent. The Nets haven't shown that they have talent. The Nets haven't shown that they're willing to, you know, build a chemistry. Lionel Hollins was a great coach in Memphis, and that's because he had players that fit his system. The Nets don't have players that fit Lionel Hollins' system. Lionel Hollins is a defensive-minded coach. He's not going to give you the innovative offensive game plan that Jason Kidd gave the Nets last year. And Lionel Hollins' system has completely failed so far this season. Granted, he doesn't have a lot to work with in the talent department. Darren Williams is like that glass guy from that one SpongeBob episode. Joe Johnson has been inconsistent all season. He's playing with tendonitis, so that's why. Brook Lopez is Brook Lopez. You know, he's going to have games where he scores, you know, 20, 25. He had that one game against Toronto in overtime where he scored 35, and they lost. But, you know, Brook Lopez is going to give you scoring. He's not going to give you much else. He's not going to hustle for rebounds. He's not going to hustle on the defensive end of the ball. He's not going to be athletic. He's not Marc Gasol. So, and then the bench is probably the biggest concern for the Nets outside of the big 3. Jarrett Jack, you know, moved into the starting lineup, and he's been absolutely amazing. He deserves all the praise, and he's really the only player I can praise at this point. Alan Anderson has been inconsistent. I don't even know who our backup small forward is. That's sad. Sergei Karasev's been awful. Markel Brown doesn't even get minutes, and Markel Brown is probably the most athletic player on this team. Corey Jefferson got minutes in Toronto, and he dunked all over Patrick Patterson, and what has he gotten since then? You know, Lionel Hollins isn't developing the youth players that we have. Mason Plumlee started the season off on a hot streak, and now Mason Plumlee is just Mason Plumlee now. It's just a bad situation. This team is in a bad situation. No cap space, no draft picks of our own until 2019, I think. So, I don't know, man. I can't even be hopeful for a turnaround after the All-Star break because there's still a lot of road games left to be played. The next time the Nets play a home game is March 2nd, and that's against the Warriors. Life's hard for Nets fans. Life's hard for Nets fans. I wish I could say, okay, everything's going to be cool. You know, just throw in the towel for the season. The fact that the Nets are, I think, 1.5 games out of the 8th seed, we could still make the playoffs, but we're not going to do anything. We're either going to play Atlanta or Toronto. We match up well with Toronto. Atlanta has blown us out of the water 3 times this season, I think. 3 or 2. I have all my stats messed up. Stress. That's what this team is giving me, stress. The Nets should just, you know, collectively say, okay, we stress out all their fans. We're just going to pay for all their hospital bills when they're in the hospital due to whatever condition this team puts us in. This isn't a rant video, by the way. Well, it kind of is. I'm kind of frustrated. You know, last season was the window to win a championship. And it's probably the closest thing the Nets are going to have to winning a championship for a long time. Team looked great on paper. Darren Williams, Joe Johnson, Paul Pierce, Kevin Garnett, Brook Lopez. Brook Lopez gets hurt. Mason Plumlee steps in, does a great job for Jason Kidd. The Nets don't have stability. I'm jumping all over the place. The Nets don't have stability. This is what, their 4th head coach in Brooklyn? Started with Avery Johnson. Avery Johnson starts off, what, 11-4? We go 11-11. He gets canned. PJ Carlesimo did a decent job. He got us to the playoffs. Got the Nets 49 wins in their first season in Brooklyn. And then Carlesimo doesn't even have a chance. Jason Kidd comes in, gets us to the playoffs, gets us to the 2nd round of the playoffs. Then he wants a power play, which should we have given him the power play? I think he knew what was up. Billy King's just like, oh no, I'm not giving up my job. I'm just going to throw out all these draft picks and waste cap space on players that aren't good. I hate Billy King so much. But yeah, it is what it is right now, honestly. The Nets are not 10-21. Wow, I'm having flashbacks to last season. The Nets are 21-31. There's about 2 months of basketball left. Whatever happens after the All-Star break happens. I'm not predicting anything, but we're in a rough situation right now. So I just wanted to make this quick little video to kind of give everybody a hint where the Nets are at this point in the season. Tim Walsh is the real MVP. You go, Tim Walsh. Saving lives out here. That's it. If you want to check out more, you can check out beatofbrooklyn.com. There'll probably be a link in the description. Link somewhere on the video. I don't know if it's going to be here or here or here or here. I'm pointing way too low. But yeah, if you want to catch up more, I write everything. I run the website, my website, beatofbrooklyn.com. Follow us on Twitter at beatofbrooklyn. You can follow me on Twitter at yoitstizzy. There's going to be more videos like this somewhere along the lines in the future when I figure out everything. And that's it. Peace!